And good morning, everyone. Welcome into our Saturday morning coaches show. I'm Don Julian, and we have Coach Jarad Hammack with us today. And I have a sneaking suspicion that we may have somebody in the lobby out there waiting for their turn to get on as well. And Doug is shaking his head. It might, if you carded him, you might have the name David Carrillo. We believe David is out there. I believe that's correct. So we will hear from him just a little bit later on this Saturday morning coaches show. And just a few quick thoughts on some other things. Wow, what a great season-ending ball game for the Wildcats soccer team. I just read the report from Alexi Upton commenting on that game. He was very upbeat about the way his team played. They did lose 3-1 in overtime to Longview. Had a chance. They scored with about 3:30 left, and they were up 1-0, but just could not hold it as Longview kind of went up into another gear and then at least got the tying goal. And then the first session of the first half of overtime, no scoring. It had to go into the second half of overtime, and then finally Longview made a couple of goals and got out of there with a win. So an excellent way to end the season for the Wildcats, really playing well. And Alexi said it all, and I know every coach that's on here would say this. When you say your team left everything on the field, what more can you ask? You can't. That's it. Excuse me. And just in some other things, Wildcats tennis team was at a Wills Point tournament on Thursday, and I believe they have a Tyler tournament coming up on Monday. They'll be going to Tyler. That was one that was scheduled during the great ice and snowstorm that week we had, and so it was canceled. And I think that's a makeup for that for the tennis team as they continue to prepare for the district tennis tournament coming up later this month. Also, congratulations to a couple of golfers for the Wildcats. Kip Childress qualified for the regional golf tournament at their district tournament earlier this week, and he'll be going to regional April 21st and 22nd, so congratulations to him. And also on the girls' side, Miriam Tran also going to regional April 19th and 20th, and that again will be in Rockwall. That's at that Rockwall Golf and Athletic Club. And so congratulations to both of them. And the Wildcats and Lady Cats track team, they had district Wednesday and Thursday, and still waiting on the results on that. So as soon as we get that, we will share that with everybody. I know I got to thinking, a big sports day Thursday, I'm sure everybody gets in, they're worn out and tired, and they're looking forward to Good Friday and day off, and so just didn't hear a lot on Friday, and it's just now Saturday, so still waiting to get word on that. So I think that's about everything else. And now we have Coach Jarad Hammack with us, his team right in the thick of the district race. I believe now tied for second. Is that right, Coach?
That's correct.
Tied for second with Texas High with 4-2 records. Hallsville kind of out there right now, but going to need the teams, Texas High and the Wildcats, going to need a little bit of help, or they each can take care of that on their own. But anyway, they need a little help to get back to where Hallsville is on top of the district race. Wildcats did play Hallsville. That was at home on Thursday. It was an 8-1 loss, which I was talking with Coach Hammack just prior to the show starting today, and he said the score not indicative of exactly how that game went. But so we'll talk about that more, and we'll also talk about for the Wildcats coming up this week. They'll go to Longview on Tuesday for a district game, and then as the district starts the second half, and then they will be hosting Mount Pleasant, and that'll be coming up this coming Friday. There's also a Saturday game on the schedule. Is that one of the McKinney North games, Coach?
It's at McKinney North.
At McKinney North. That'll be next Saturday, not this Saturday, for the Wildcats. So kind of a busy week for them. And Coach, just fill us in on that Hallsville game that I know you were disappointed playing at home and on Thursday.
Well, we were disappointed because we really have played well against Hallsville at home. I know they don't really like coming here. It's been several years since they've beating us at our place. And it was kind of, not that it matters a lot in a general sense, but it was probably for first place for the first round. They had come in undefeated, and we had only one loss to that point. And we just, again, really believed if we would play well, and we had 3 good days of practice, so I had every reason to believe that we were going to play well and compete, and it just didn't turn out that way. We had kind of reverted back to what we have talked about, our tournament days. We kind of played that way. I think we walked 11 guys, then maybe hit 1. And so I think out of their 8 runs, they had three earned, because later in the game we had made some defensive mistakes, 3 or 4 errors in the last couple of innings that just kind of got out of hand. Whereas we were still in the thick of it in the middle of the game, 2-1, 3-1, and it wasn't like we didn't have a lot of base runners. We did, and we had the meat of the order up at least 2 or 3 different times, and nobody could just get that one hit, to get some runs in and get us going. So, just overall it was an extremely disappointing evening.
Yeah, again, it reminds me of the last few statements you made about Johnny Oates one time for the Texas Rangers after a game, and he said, we set a nice feast and set a fine table, but nobody sat down to eat. So the Rangers with runners all over the base, and just, sometime that big hit just eludes you, and that was kind of the case. I think 1 run and 4 hits for a total, so it was just a tough. And I'm sure it was probably against a very, very good Hallsville pitcher that you guys faced. He
was a good little pitcher, a little sophomore lefty that's been their number 2, because, of course, they played Tuesday night. We just happened to have a bye so Hayden could throw. And he was, he did a good job, but what he did and what we didn't do, we just weren't very competitive in our at-bats. In other words, we were swinging at balls out of the strike zone. We'd gone back to kind of doing that. In my opinion, taking some fastballs that looked like they were right down the middle, and just a little off kilter, and just didn't seem like we competed each at bat like we needed to. Now we had a few of those. Mayor Millsap had a couple of hits at the top of the order. Matthew Singleton had a couple of hits at the top of the order, but just throughout our lineup, I just didn't feel like we had enough good at-bats. We didn't battle hard enough, well enough against that young man. And, again, at times we just made it easy on him, again, with swinging balls out of the zone. We didn't really hit a lot of hard balls. We struck out more than we've struck out in several games. Again, just not a good offensive effort. Again, as you said, what Johnny Oates said is exactly right. We had people there. At times we just couldn't get it done when we needed to, and it was people that you would want up that had been producing, at other times, but just that night it just wasn't our night, I guess.
All right, just the way it goes sometime, and you just kind of have to pick up from here. We talked about the games coming up, and I remember the Longview game from the first round. We had them at home. And a very well pitched game, but just not much run scoring in that one. So they're very capable and going to be a very tough opponent coming up on Tuesday night.
Absolutely. I think if you really ask a lot of teams in our district, they probably would be the scariest potentially team. They've got 2 really good pitchers. We saw their number 2, and he was hitting 90 at times that night. A big right-hander, and then they've got I think they also have a soft, kind of a lefty sophomore that's been really good. Actually, no hit, I think, White House early in the year. They've got some hitters that are going to play Division I baseball. I think their third baseman's going to DBU. Maybe their center fielder's going, I don't really know, but somewhere legitimate. And so they're a scary team, and they've actually started playing well. They're tied with all of us for second as well. They lost their first 2, us and Hallsville, but they won their last 4, including beating a good Texas High team. So they're playing really well right now, and they're at home, and it's going to be a big test for us, not only playing them at their place, but the test, can we bounce back from a very disappointing and again, like I told our players, kind of a non-competitive day for us. We just didn't really compete. That was what disappointed me the most. Not the loss, but I just didn't feel like we competed like we're capable of competing. And so we've got one day of practice, and then we've got to be ready to go because Longview will be.
Yeah, that's quite a group that's kind of they've gotten to the top there. So that's an interesting dynamic. That's going to make for some very, very interesting games in the second half of district play for sure.
Yes, and again, their quality. I mean, we're gonna have to go play well to beat them on the road, and we did compete well at home against them. Like I said, I think they went up 1-0 early. We had tied it, and then kind of they made some mistakes down the stretch. We ended up beating them 8-1, but that was kind of some late runs that did that for us. But their quality and we are too. I mean, and you're dealing with young people. You can't play well every time out, but again, you really were hoping to against a team like Hallsville raise your level of play and really compete, and we just didn't do it. So we'll bounce back. I feel confident of that. These young men will come in next week, and we'll have a good day of practice, and we'll go give it our best shot.
Very good. Looking forward to what's up ahead. Let's take our first internal break. We'll be back with Coach Hammack right after this. And back here on Saturday morning Coach's Show. Coach, you called your team young men and kind of the youth of a team. It's their future, and if you've got a lot of youth, the future's bright, and all that, but that always comes with that. And I think about all these teams that are like that with a lot of potential, a lot of young guys, comes inconsistency. And that's, you talk to a football coach, and they used to have a saying about however many sophomores or freshmen that you had on the football team, you could count on one loss or something for that player being there, because they're just going to make some mistakes that later on they might not make. So, kind of inconsistency, and that's just kind of something that is a learned quality, and so many of these guys were JVers. I think you've talked before that kind of didn't have much of a season last year because of everything, and so there's a lot to learn. So they do have a big upside.
Absolutely. I mean, we have talked about it in the past, and yes, everybody had to deal with the COVID shortened season last year, but certain teams returned more varsity players than others, and I think that is an advantage because, like you said, you've got a bunch of guys that you're counting on that were on the JV last year that did not play very many games before the season was canceled, and then you're asking them to step into a highly competitive 3 tournaments in a row and then a really good district. And so we've taken our lumps, no question about it, particularly in the tournaments. But we have gotten better, and that's all that we can do is just try to get better, try to get more acclimated to the competitive environment that we're in, and a lot of these guys have done that. Now, we took a step back, I think, as we've talked about this past Thursday against Hallsville. I thought our competitiveness was not really all that good, and particularly when they got up 4-1, it just seemed like it was a done deal. And, we needed to be able to try to battle back, whether we won or not, just to show some battle and some fight. And we just weren't able to do that against them for whatever reason. It could be the inexperience and the inconsistency as you're talking about. But, and all that's fine and good, but we still have to get back on the wagon and play a really, really good team Tuesday night and a good district second half season. I mean, we're right there, like I said, in the thick of it. We have high hopes to get into the playoffs, and as we know from past experience, that if you just can get in and you're playing well, you can advance no matter what your seed is or who you're playing. It's all about how well you're playing at the moment, and that's just what our plan is. We just want to try to get in wherever we can get in, and then just see what happens.
Yeah, several rounds a couple of years ago with a team that was a 4 seed that was very fortunate to get in. It kind of took them a while to gear everything up. It kind of turned it around just at the right time and had to win every game going out. But you get in the playoffs, you get by Hallsville and by district, and you kind of cruise along for a while. So, you're kind of a scary 4 seed in that case when you do something like that. So, and I've heard David Carrillo say too, just get in. You get in and see what happens.
Absolutely, and I've often thought people don't really want to play us in the playoffs because we seem to peak at that time just about every year, not every year, but just about every year, and it's a new season, and what you have done in the past doesn't matter. What you did in the regular season doesn't matter. You can be an undefeated district champion, but you still have to go out and play that whatever team you're playing in the first round. And if they're playing well and they outplay you, you're going to get beat. I've often said, and don't get me wrong, district championships are nice, but I would rather be a 4 seed that advances far into the playoffs than a district champion who loses in the first round.
Sure.
You just don't, that's just kind of a letdown. And so, again, that's why my focus is generally we just want to do what we have to do to get into the playoffs, whatever seed we are, and then just keep peaking and keep playing hard and keep competing, and we can advance.
Yeah, I remember probably one of the best teams you ever had, going back to as far as I can remember, back in '06 with that team, undefeated district champions, and they actually got a bye, I think, in the first round, didn't even have to play, and kind of, get a bye into that second round, and then a highly disappointing first series against Justin Northwest over in McKinney. But, so that, and I know that probably stings for you as much as anything, I would think, in your coaching career.
Right. I mean, 16 years ago, and it's still a bother. It really is, because that team was as talented a team as I've had in 20, 25 years. And you're right. Back in those days, the good old days, I guess you had 3 teams made the playoffs, not 4 as we have now. So we were the district champions, undefeated, and got a bye, like you said. And we didn't just sit around. We played a couple of other district champions kind of to try to get involved, keep it going, and then just didn't play well that particular weekend against Justin Northwest, and we lose and our season's over, and such a blow that was. And then, like you said, we've had teams that were 4 seeds that advanced 3-4 rounds deep, and it's just about how you're playing at that moment and the matchups that you have. And, that particular year just, again, that still stings for sure.
Well, we don't want to leave you with a sting there, so let's reflect on, some of those teams that did. We talked about the performers from a couple of years ago that came in as the 4 seed. You had that bunch with Colby Suggs. You had Tyler Follis, and both those teams made nice little runs, 3-4 games into the playoffs. So we'll leave you with a pleasant memory and then wipe out that '06. I don't want to leave you here today dwelling on that too much.
Well, and that was a team, though, that, of course, I still am in contact with a lot of those guys. Really, one of them, Josh Riley, of course, is the head coach at Gilmer right now, doing a good job over there. They're in the thick of their district's playoff race, and some other guys. So, I still love those guys as much as any of the other guys, and I hate it more for them that I really thought we had the ingredients to maybe go to the state tournament. Now, you got to get some breaks throughout your playoff run, but, and you got to make your own as well. But, yeah, we've had some other good ones. My assistant, Shane McQueen, was on that Colby Suggs team. We were a 4 seed, ended up going to the 3rd round in the quarterfinals, and I believe it was Cleburne who beat us in 2 extra inning, 1-run games. And that was a 4 seed that you said 2 or 3 years ago, where we did have to win 5 in a row, including beating T-High twice in the last week, just to get in, and then we go sweep a good Hallsville team who was their district champion and number 1 seed. So, and that's always fun to get into the playoffs. Maybe a team that outmatches you, or supposedly on paper, but you're able to beat them. That's pretty fulfilling and pretty rewarding.
All right, and just once again, reviewing the schedule for this week, if you want to see the Wildcats on Tuesday, you're going to have to travel to Longview, and that game will be Tuesday at 7 o'clock over in Longview, JV game at 4. And then hosting, be in town on Friday with Mount Pleasant coming in. That's always a big rival game, regardless of the records, just kind of throw them out. That really, when those 2 teams get together in any sport, that can be tiddlywinks, and it's going to be a tough competition, I guarantee you. But Mount Pleasant coming to town on Friday, and again, 7 o'clock for the varsity and 4 o'clock for the JV. And, Coach, I appreciate your time so much on a Saturday morning, and enjoy the rest of the weekend, and get those Wildcats going next week for some big district games.
Thank you, Don. We're going to do everything we can to be prepared for that week.
I know it for a fact. Let's take our second internal break. We'll be back with more right after this. And back here on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show, David Carrillo is in the house, and we are glad to have him today. Lady Cat softball program. Wow, talk about a high-flying bunch. Have your feet hit the ground since last Thursday?
I don't think it's hit the ground.
Big win over Hallsville.
I don't think it's hit the ground all year, to be honest with you. It's been an amazing run so far, and like I said, we're truly blessed to be where we're at, and that's why I try to get our kids to focus on just how blessed we really are, and because before the season there were so many, after the COVID, there were so many question marks, and we're sitting here at 16-3, and it's just been a blessing. I just can't believe it, and every day I'm just thankful and blessed for the kids that I have, and that's what I try to get them. It's got to be about team, can't be about self, and we would be our own worst enemy at this point, to me, if we don't sit here and just look at what blessings we have around us and how thankful we should be that we're in the position that we are at. You'd have told me we'd have been having an opportunity to win a district championship. I would have been a little skeptical. I'm not going to lie, because there were so many question marks. But we've been blessed.
Absolutely. And the game on Thursday was kind of the mirror image of what we saw in Hallsville when you played the very first district game. They got the 4-0 win, and this time they come to Lady Cat Park on Thursday. You get a 3-0 win. If I got that right, was it kind of a mirror image?
It was
thing?
A mirror image. We were able to get our runners in scoring position. I was trying to score any way we can. That's just kind of how I think nowadays. But the weird part about it is I had told him a story. During that 4-0 loss that we had, things really fell apart in the 6th inning of that game, and we made a couple errors, and I literally went on the field probably before they called time, because I was so angry about just the little mistakes that we were making, not something that they were doing to us. It was what we were doing to ourselves. And I walked out there and I literally said this. I said, I want you to look around you, and I want you to feel this feeling that you feel right now. And I want you to remember this, because I know when they come back to Sulphur Springs, it's going to be different. And I want you to remember how you feel right now, because I remember how I felt. And it was like a feeling of just helplessness. And I said, I don't want to feel this feeling up in Sulphur Springs, but it's going to be different. And I guess prophecy happened, because it was different, and we just turned it all around and played well. And that was a little thing I reminded them on Wednesdays, after Wednesday's practice, of just that feeling to not let it happen again. Don't beat yourselves. If we're going to get beat, we're going to get beat, but we don't want to beat ourselves. So, that being said, I was just looking forward to this game, and I just wanted to play the best game that we could possibly play. Don't be our worst enemy. That's my goal, and that was our goal. And we ended up being able to do the things that we needed to do to score those runs and to win the game.
Yeah, sometimes, coaches never like to admit that a loss can be beneficial. Sometimes a team kind of needs a loss to kind of self-correct and that sort of thing. But for whatever reason, since that Hallsville game and that loss, the Lady Cats 7 wins in a row, 6 district wins, and playing very, very well, and kind of put that Hallsville game behind you and win 7 in a row.
Yeah, yes, and that's what I challenge them to, and I try to let them remember that this in district play, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's a long, long journey, and you got to take every game at a time, one at a time, and then you got to take every inning, one inning at a time, and that's the way I stay focused on the rest of the time, because Longview gave us some fits, and we're fixing to have to go down there on Tuesday, but again, we just need to stay focused on ourselves and keep doing things right, and not look at the big picture. Just look at one game at a time, and all that stuff will take care of itself.
Yeah, you do have a trip to Longview on. In fact, you have 2 trips this week. Go to Longview on Tuesday, and then head over to Mount Pleasant to reacquaint yourself with Jeremy Tarrant over there, your buddy and coach at Mount Pleasant. You guys are good friends until the game starts, and then you really get after each other. I like the competition, just being in the area to see that happen. But so a big week for you. But we had the Longview game right after that Hallsville game, and that was a struggle. That was a pitcher's battle. And we eke out a run there, get Nyla Lindley on third base and tell her if that catcher happens to miss that ball, take off. Don't even think about it. And that's exactly what she needed to do, because a close play at home that she just beat by heading in there.
Well, in a weird way, I think, the Hallsville game was a big turnaround game, but the Longview game was when everything really, I felt like, turned around, because we still weren't hitting. We were striking out. We weren't really putting the ball in play. And for Nala to do what she did to win that game, that was the moment that I think everything probably turned around, because now we started finding ways to produce runs, putting the ball in play a little bit better. We haven't really been shut down since then in a scheme, where we were just striking out, and we've been able to put the ball in play. And I think that kind of woke us up to, we need to find a way to manufacture runs any way necessary, and that's what we're going to do. In the Hallsville game, Kinsley Smallwood was on second, and I probably wouldn't have sent her in a normal thing, but you have to think you got very few opportunities to score when you're facing a good pitcher like Melton, and so I rolled the dice, and she dropped the ball. She was gonna have to make a perfect play. Catcher drops the ball, and we scored. And why, when we get that one run, and then of course we get a pass ball and get the second run, and then you're feeling pretty good. But we still have to make the simple plays, which I think we kind of let some runners on later on in the game because of errors again. But we were able to Crimson was able to get us out of them, and we were as a team was able to get out of them. But again, I just thought that we really played well for the most part. Just certain little things that we need to fix, and all year I really believed this as the season started going on. And I don't know if the kids were buying into it, but about Allen, I started telling them, hey, we have a chance to be a really good team. We have a chance to be a really good team. And I think they're buying what I'm selling now. We just got to make sure we just make the simple plays when we can and score, and for the most part, at least every opportunity that we have runners in scoring position, and try not to leave them on base. And, if we can do that and continue to do that, then we're going to be really pretty tough from here on out.
Oh, very good. Well, let's take our third internal break. We'll be back with more with David Carrillo right after this. And back here on Saturday Morning Coaches Show, talking with David Carrillo, head coach of the Lady Cat softball team, and talking about a victory over Hallsville the other night at Lady Cat Park. And I was doing soccer that night, but I just envisioned, David, that you had a huge crowd. I could imagine the Thursday game, it just seemed like a good time to really pack them in over at Lady Cat Park and have a big crowd.
It was a great atmosphere. Everybody was out there. It seemed like, both Hallsville and Sulphur Springs. And, every time we play, we know it's just going to be a battle. And, like I said, I like those games because it kind of gets you playoff ready, because that's the crowds that you're going to see, and then the pressure that's going to be involved, because you can sit there and say what you want about, travel ball and all these things. And I always say this, travel ball is a lot different from high school softball, because high school softball, you got your hometown crowd right there sitting over there. It's not like, everybody goes and runs and sees you when you're traveling. So I feel like the kids, they know that, the pressure's a little bit more. Their friends are out there, their boyfriends are out there, their parents, and, everybody's out there. And so, yes, Thursday was an electrifying atmosphere. It was really fun to be a part of, coaching as well as playing. And when you play a team like that, be it a rivalry game, those are the ones you want to be in. I would rather play in a game like that than sit there and play in a game 10-0 and we just kind of coast. And those are the rivalry games, like to me, like against the Mount Pleasant, Hallsville, Texas High. Those type of games are the ones that you really look forward to playing, because you're going to have your game on, and you're going to have to get after it. And you just got to, again, just go play to win, not to lose. And I feel like, that was a big difference in this Hallsville game. I felt like we were playing to win the game, whereas the other game I felt like we were kind of passive and playing not to lose. But we were definitely very aggressive, and Addison Cadell has been hitting the ball really well for
Absolutely,
us.
yes.
She's done some good things. Nicole Higgins and Paris Pickett got 2 big hits to score some runs, and Kinley Friedel, pass ball, she just reacts and takes off and does her thing. So there's a lot of heroes that's been going on. But what's weird about this year to me, you have like a Nala Lindley, a senior, that's been a big hero at certain times. There's been heroes in different areas of the game, and she's really just not one. Somebody comes up there and makes a play or does something, and it helps us, make the big play to win the game or to score a run or whatever. So, offensively, that's where we're at. And, of course, when you have Crimson in the circle, she's amazing. She does some great things, and I believe she struck out 14. And she just makes things happen. She's just, just a phenomenal pitcher that we're blessed to have. And, it's not a day, like I said, I'm not thankful for her and all the people that we have, because, this thing, to me, I feel like every year I pray, and I know whoever's on our team that year, that's who the Lord made us part, that we're going to stick together through thick and thin. So this is the 2021, and these girls, we're all together for a reason. And it's not just to play this game. It's to learn spiritual lessons, to learn life lessons, to learn all the things that we need to know to honor God with our play and with the talent that He's blessed us with. And I feel like for them, the kids buy into that. They know it's not just about just winning. And when the more we can sit there and honor Him, the better we're going to be as a team, because all this stuff is so fleeting. This season's going to end, but what did you learn from this season? And that's what, again, it's all about our journey. And that's why I always say we're always playing for something more, because that's what I truly believe in. We're not just playing just for ourselves, because God has blessed us with so much, with the ability to play, because not everybody can play softball. Not everybody's going to be on the varsity. Not everybody's going to be a starter. But when you put your eyes fixed on Him, I just think great and amazing things can happen.
All right. When you get a team together at the beginning of the year, you have hopes and expectations, but, it's kind of like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. You're not really sure what you got until you get them on the field and see how they play. And we've talked about the 7-game win streak. Have you seen this team grow? And is there maybe their confidence is stronger now with these wins? You mentioned Hallsville; they play not to lose, and now they're playing to win. That's a change. So you're watching this team mature, I guess.
I see us being able to put the ball and play a little bit better than we were at the beginning. I see us maturity level. Like, I don't see them getting too wigged out over big games anymore. It's just another game for us. And, that to me is what's important. You have to be even keeled. You have to just maintain a stability about yourself. You can't get too high and you can't get too low. And if you can sit there and stay on an even keel throughout every situation, you're going to be fine. You just can't look at the storm. You got to look at, hey, there's a sun out there, because you're going to make a mistake. You're going to strike out. There are things that are going to happen. I always call it like sudden change. You've got to be able to adapt to sudden change, because you have it in life and you have it in games. When sudden change happens, how are you going to react? Are you going to just cower down and feel sorry for yourself, or are you going to sit there and step up and do what you need to do to shake it off? Because an at-bat is an at-bat. Error is an error, but you got to go on. You cannot sit there and fester over it. And I think that's what, for the most part, I think we're getting better on. Let me get mad at that. I promise I'll get over it. But because I want perfection. I know it's not going to happen, though. But like I said, our kids just have been able to pretty much shake things off when bad things happen, and they just kind of keep going. And that's the type of team that I'm looking for, that I want to be able to shake it off and go and not dwell on it for the whole game or the next 2 games or whatever. Because like I said, things happen, and that's life, and you just got to go on and shake it off and know that you got a job to do, and you can't sit there and fester on the mistake or whatever.
Well, let's talk about the Longview game a little bit coming up on Tuesday. Will we see the same pitcher you think we saw before?
I don't know.
I'm not sure what their situation. I don't know if we.
I don't know. That's a good question, because I talk to a lot of people, and they've been pitching somebody else. So I don't know if the other pitcher's hurt, or I have no idea. So the girl Rios was the one that stymied us, but she hasn't been pitching the last 3 or 4 district games. So I don't know, like I said, if she's hurt or what the situation is. So we're just going to have to be ready for anything, I guess, for the most part. But I have seen both pitchers, though, pitch, because we went to Longview and scouted the Longview tournament a couple weeks ago, or about 3 weeks ago. We went and scouted them when they were playing. So we had the opportunity to see both pitchers. So we're just going to get ready for both. Their styles are, one moves it like curveball outside corner, change up, and the other one just throws it in and out. I mean, they're just different speeds and different styles, but nothing like earth-shattering or, inventing the new wheel, or inventing the wheel. We just got to sit there and stay focused on getting good at bats and continue to put pressure on the defense.
Even if, as long as Rios, if she's healthy, maybe she hasn't been pitching, but in the back of my mind as a coach, I would think about that game she threw against us in Sulphur Springs and think, maybe she still got it. I don't know.
I'm like you. I think, you think like, hey, she's got our, their number, so let's keep going. But like I said, just talking to people, it's just been, he's been pitching the other one. And like I said, I don't know their situation. She may be ready, and he just thinks the other one's better. I don't know. But, again, I expect a very, very tough game over there. a game that I feel like for us we need to come out and win, because I mean our goal would be to win a district championship or share a district championship, whatever ends up happening. We want to have that's your number one goal. And then after that, of course, being in the playoffs, which I believe we have clinched the playoff spot right now, but I want to finish as high a seed as we can.
Sure.
And of course, and I know our girls do too. So, but the opportunity is there, and the great thing about for us is we control our own destiny from here on out. We win out, we're there. I'm so thankful, like I said, and blessed for this opportunity, because at the beginning of the year there were so many question marks, and the problem with this year was we were going to have to figure them out on the go, because we lost that year. So some of these juniors that are seniors, we never really got to see them play last year, and they played not many games at all. So we're just trying to figure things out and trying to put the best team out there that we can, regardless of classification. So that's kind of where we're at now with what we have. But again, that year that we lost, it did affect a lot of teams, because again, you're going to the unknown. You don't know who your solid team was going into the year because of the lost season. It's just, you just had to figure it out, and that's what we've been trying to do as coaches. And speaking of coaches, hey, Bailey Dorner, man, she's my hero. She's amazing. She's done a great job of working with Crimson and calling pitches for her. And I'm so thankful for her, because she is the person that I rely on a lot about just the things that I don't think about, or she does really well with the girls and just dealing with some issues that I don't want to hear about. I mean, that I'm a guy. I mean, I don't want to hear about everything, but she does a good job with that too. So I'm very blessed with her, and of course, Coach Hatcher and Coach Aguilon do a great job too. But I just wanted to put a special shout out to Bailey, because again, with her, it would be really tough. She does great.
Yeah, Bailey, a special coach, a really good volleyball coach, but I think if you scratch deep with her, you're going to find a softball player.
Yes. I'm about to start tearing up, though, because Bailey is my best friend, too. She's a good friend and amazing woman.
Yeah, she is. We're very blessed to have her, just like I think we were to have Eric Buck for all those years as a great assistant coach, that a veteran that you could really count on.
Yeah, I laugh. I always tell Bailey, I tell the kids too, sometimes I don't make sense, but they somehow figure what I mean, and she kind of translate Carrillo talk. So I'm not real clear sometimes, and she go, well, what he means to say is, and hey, I get it. But it's good to have someone like that, and again, just a great character person, and just somebody I look up to tremendously. And again, we are blessed, and we have a good coaching staff, and they always looking for something to do. I don't have to tell them really anything. They're always trying to find something to do, or the field, or cutting grass, or whatever. That's kind of coaching staff you want. You don't want them, because I used to always laugh when I coached football. I'd hear the old saying, not knowing is not an excuse, and say they just go get after it. They're going to find something to do. They're just not going to stand around. And again, that's where we're blessed so much with just our the kids that we have, and the coaches that we have here.
Very good, David. I appreciate your time on Saturday, and best of luck next week. Again, the Lady Cats, 2 road trips, going to Longview on Tuesday, going to Mount Pleasant on Friday. And I know Coach Carrillo would appreciate all the fans that can make the trip to do that. Coach Hammack was saying that they've got some pretty strict protocols still that they enforce in Longview, so he's said he would pass those along. We'll try to share those with you so you'll know kind of what to expect. There may be a different parking lot or this or that, and I've never been to the softball facility in Longview, so I'm not even sure where that is.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get that all sorted out and share as much information as we can. So that's going to wrap it up for this Saturday morning Coaches Show. I'm Don Julian. Appreciate everybody tuning in today, and so long, everyone.